From Krypton Radio and the creators of the Hangin With Web Show, it's the legend of the traveling Tardis. Look inside and behind the scenes at some of the most enduring and beloved science fiction worlds. Step inside the doors to a world that is bigger, brighter, and beyond imagination. And now, join your host, Christian Basel, as you become a part of the legend of the traveling Tardis.
And hello again. Welcome. For those of you just joining us, welcome to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS radio show. And for those of you who were there for the first episode, for our first 30-minute episode, thank you for coming back. Thank you for playing. Thank you. I can't thank you enough, so I'm going to thank you again there. Thank you very, very much there. And welcome to the latest episode. We're all excited about what has just happened in the universe, or the Whoniverse, I should say. Jodie Whittaker just had her first episode, and it is, well, you know what? Spoiler alert, we're not going to talk about it because I've got some friends who are going to be talking about this. But first, let's go to what we now dubbed, and I'm going to say this tongue twister as best I can, the Who Knew...
Who knew who's?
Who knew who's? Who knew who's?
The Who knew who's. Oh, that's fun.
And now, all the pop culture news that's been fresh. Here's Sage Ia.
Yes, that is me. The first question I have for everybody is, where is the TARDIS? Okay?
You got it at your house, actually.
Well, that's true. I do have the traveling TARDIS at my house. However, the actual TARDIS, there are clues that are out there, though, from like the past Christmas episode. Okay, so what did we learn? Don't press any buttons. Right?
Yeah, apparently.
So, yeah. One theory is that the chameleon circuit has started working. Another theory is that another ship has captured the TARDIS. And the last theory is that they were transported to the right space, but not the right time. Ha!
Ooh.
How do you like that? That's pretty good, huh? Yeah, so now we have to figure out where the actual TARDIS is. So, that's one. And 8.2 million viewers are trying to figure that out. That's how many tuned in to BBC's episode. That's up 48% for the total audience viewers that came in.
And I think that's probably the highest ratings in quite some time. I think it even beats Capaldi. I don't even think Capaldi had those kind of ratings.
No, not at all. This is one of the highest rated beginnings, which is fantastic, which is awesome, because for everybody out there who is just completely enamored of our new Doctor, okay, are you ready for this? There is a Doctor Who Barbie. I'm not making that up. She is complete with high heels and suspenders, although if you're in the UK, we call them braces, okay? She also has a teeny tiny sonic screwdriver.
No, I'm thinking the Barbie Dream. Who needs a Barbie Dream House? It's bigger on the inside.
Now we can have a Barbie TARDIS. How awesome would that be? And you could open it up, and it would be your Doctor Who house. Oh, I'm sorry. It's a Doctor Who house.
I want everybody's take on this. First of all, I want to introduce our panel today. I want to welcome back cosplayer Jessica Womack.
Hello.
Jessica, hi, and there. I also want to bring in actress Stacey Corbett. Stacey, how you doing there? Nice. And I want to introduce on our panel, brand new to our panel as well, author Kevin J. Kessler. How you guys doing?
Hey, how's it going?
Okay, gang, what do you think? A Barbie doll, Doctor Who 13. What do you guys think about that?
I love it.
I want to know where the other doctors are. Like,
I
Ken dolls? Like,
I agree. Somebody commented that, and they're like, where's the other 12? And I'm like, give me the other 12. That would be amazing.
That's a whole new Mattel line.
You know, it's had phenomenal hair. That's how it would be.
And a Dalek. Oh, I love it.
I think it's fantastic. Does she actually have like the hairstyle that the 13th Doctor has, or does she have like the typical long Barbie hair?
No, she has the actual hairstyle. It's a little bit straight. It could be a little bit crimped, but...
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, I think it's great. As someone who's never really like the whole like different genders for different toys kind of thing, I think it's a great way, to even kind of show like, fans of the show that it crosses the gender line a little bit. It's just further, accentuating that point.
I'm slightly geeked out about the whole thing. It's just like now the girls have something to play with, because we're so used to the BBC putting out Who products and who, doctors and Daleks and Cybermen and all these characters. And now, is it a Mattel product, really?
Yes, I believe so.
Oh, wow.
If it's a Barbie, it has to be.
Exactly so. Complete with the rainbow striped T-shirt.
I do want to see if they come out with the other characters, and I want to see what bad guys they come out with too. This is going to be exciting. If they come out with
Missy will be fabulous.
Ooh,
That would be awesome. I would love to see the Dalek Barbie. Cyber Barbie.
I hope you could open up the Dalek Barbie and a little Octa Dalek inside.
I hope they're not
little
rainbow here.
It should come with a K9.
Oh. But tell you, listen to this. We got some products over here. My goodness. I mean, I think this is just phenomenal. I was wondering where the marketing would go with it, if they were just going to consistently do that. And I did hear about the Barbie doll, but I was just like, oh, okay, this is going to be interesting. But she does almost look like, it's not like Emma Watson, Beauty and the Beast.
No.
Kind of. Sorry, Emma. I had to say something. But yeah, at least it does resemble her a lot there. Sage, what else we got in the news?
This was so much fun. They did a Doctor Who sing-along that they put out on social media. So Bradley Walsh, Jodie Whittaker, Tosin Cole, and Mandip Gill all dance and mime to the 80s song Alone.
Oh, I saw that video. I saw
Yes.
that video. Yeah. If you haven't seen it, I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere, but Bradley's in the middle, and he's lead singing, and then I think he says something like, "Take it away, Jodie," or something like that, or "Go, Jodie," and then everybody pops in, all the companions, and Jodie's in the back seat singing Alone. I'm like, oh my god, these people are great. But it's nice to see that they got a camaraderie that I've seen. Jodie had mentioned when they first got together, it started to feel like that they knew each other for so long, but they've only met, and it seems really well that they have a really nice chemistry off and on the screen as well there. And what else do we got in the news there, Sage?
That is all of my Who news.
Oh wow!
So who knew?
I will never say our titles. So that wraps up the Who Knew God.
Who knew news?
Maybe if there's alcohol involved, I can get this straightened out there. Also, by the way, folks, we just want to mention, as we're recording today, this is on Wednesday, and this should be coming out on Saturday on Krypton Radio and on Spreaker. One of the things I wanted to mention is that as we are recording this, unfortunately, Hurricane Michael is heading up the Panhandle, and seen some videos and stuff and did some enormous damage up there. So I'm sure I speak for everybody over here that we wish the very best for everybody. Godspeed. Everybody be safe. Take care of yourselves. Take these things seriously. Just get out of Dodge if you think this is a bad thing. Make sure the family's okay, because I had a lot of people when Hurricane Irma came by from the north. I've got family, and we got Whovians up there from the north writing to me when Irma was about to approach and goes, "Christian, what's a Category 5, 4 or 5 storm like?" And I said, well, to be honest, for everybody else who's never experienced a hurricane, it's the most deadly and most dangerous thing that could be out there, with winds that can go to the excess of 150 miles an hour plus. And it can be dangerous. It can damage property. It can hurt pets. It could hurt people. It could cause fatalities. And I said, but we're in Florida. For us, it's just a bad hair day.
That's it.
Single. Yeah, exactly.
Get your water, get your batteries.
Get your water, get your batteries.
That's
but everybody should be taking it seriously, because it is a very dangerous. It's a very dangerous storm, no matter what. A tropical depression, Category 1, 2, 3, they're all dangerous in their own right. And I think Ron White said it best. The comedian said, "It's not that the wind is blowing; it's what the wind is blowing." So everybody hunker down, take care of yourselves, and hopefully, it'll only do some minimal damage. Nobody gets hurt, and they'll just come out okay. So Godspeed to everybody over there in the Panhandle, and everybody's going to be affected by this hurricane. So what we're talking about today is The Woman Who Fell to Earth. Now, how the panelists are going to be rating this, how we're going to start our little panel, is that I've told each one of them to give a number between 1 and 10 traveling TARDISes. Everybody else uses sonic screwdrivers in every other mythology, so we're going to be using traveling TARDISes. And the lowest score is going to get to go first. So, Stacey, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate The Woman Who Fell to Earth?
I hate 1 to 10, but if you're going to twist my arm, I'm going to give it an initial 8 traveling TARDISes.
Virtually twisting your arm right now.
Virtually twisting my arm.
Virtually twisting your arm there. Jessica, 1 to 10 traveling TARDISes. How many?
So I could not land on a 6 or a 7, so I'm going to give it a 6.5 traveling TARDISes.
6.5. We're cutting one in half then.
We are. It's just the console.
So, okay.
Dangerous.
At a 6.5, and Kevin, how would you rate The Woman Who Fell to Earth?
I gave this a lot of thought. I was kind of the same where I couldn't really narrow down to one number. I was between 7 and 8. I gave it a 7.5. Thought it was a solid C.
Solid C, and I'm going to give it. I gave it a 7. So I'm not surprised that the score was low. If everybody's following in my ideology as to why I kind of lowered it, that I didn't put it as high as I did. But we are going to go with the lowest score. Jessica, give us some pros and cons of what you think about The Woman Who Fell to Earth.
Well, I thought overall casting was brilliant. I thought it was fabulous. I thought everyone did wonderful. The reason I give it a 6.5 is kind of like no one's favorite episode is usually the regeneration episode. It's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be an episode that gives you a foundation. The plot's not supposed to be excellent, or anything like that. I do think it stood alone, which is why I still gave it. It's definitely above that middle ground of 5. And it is a great chemistry between the villain and the people they introduced. But David's first episode, you don't even see David for half of it. So, I mean,
Sure.
most of these episodes, you don't, it's not meant to be your favorite episode. And I did think it was a good, solid episode for that. So, I mean, I really enjoyed it. I was happily surprised by it. So don't think my low score means I didn't like it. But it was just a very cliche plot, cliche villain. I loved that Tim Shaw had an aspect of our own, some serial killers we've had here on Earth, of taking the tooth. And I loved that aspect of it. But did it blow me out of the water? No.
Okay. So we had a little bit of an issue. So I think overall it was kind of, this wasn't, and I guess I was the next lowest number there. I think I'm with you on this. I don't think it was a bad episode, but to me, the regeneration episode should be a big episode. I even thought the Christmas invasion was good, even though it was Dr. Light, because I think it enticed us to wanting to know, hey, David, get up, come on, it's time. We want to see how you do. We want to see how you take. And finally, he shows up and takes on the Sycorax. And every doctor had a moment, what I call I'm the doctor. And what I mean by this is when David finally says, this planet is defended, that's when we knew we were up and running with a new doctor. When Matt says, I'm the doctor, basically run, that's the moment when it happens. And I feel sorry for Capaldi, because he didn't have that moment, I didn't think, in the first episode. It didn't show up. Okay, well, I'll get to it, because you're next right behind me there, and you can hit me on that one. I didn't see that until Flatline, when he says, I'm the man who stops the monsters. And for me, in this particular scene, was Jodie on the scaffold. As far as Jodie's concerned, she is the doctor. She is great. She is wonderful. She deserves that title. She has proven to me she can take on the role. And a lot of people, when I was reading on the net, they were telling me, what do you think? What do you think? And people were comparing her and going well, she's borrowing from this, she's taking from this. And I said, we've had 13 doctors. There is no way at this point that anybody's not going to emulate somebody from the past. Unless they are completely going 360 on this. And I don't think Jodie intention was to completely change it, and she said it in that speech where we can still honor the past, but change what's going on. And I kind of assumed that that's what Chibnall was writing to the audience and saying, hey, for those of you who don't appreciate what's going on, we're still honoring what came before, but we're taking it in a new direction. In the same way that I think Moffat wrote to the fangirls in the end with Capaldi saying, just see me. I'm not your boyfriend. Just see me. This is who I am. So this is, I think this was Chibnall's way of saying, hey, guys, this is what's going to happen, but we are inclusive of you. And if you want to walk away, that's your choice, but we want you just to see Jodie the way she is. She is the Doctor. This is what's happening. Come on in and continue to watch there.
Well, speaking of walking away, you have to hold that thought for a moment.
Yeah, I do?
You do.
Okay.
It's time for our commercial break.
You got it. Okay, well, folks, we got to pay some bills. We'll be right back. Stay tight. Stay tight? Did I just say that?
You did!
Sit tight.
So we're kind of in the nervous round. But anyway, everybody, folks, hang on tight. Continue to stay with us and become part of the legend.
It's Germany, 1938. Charlotte is a 15-year-old girl living in the Jewish quarter. George lives in the city proper, and enamored by Charlotte's charm and grace when she wanders into his cobbler shop. George decides right then and there that he is going to marry her. Follow along as this unlikely couple struggles to stay one step ahead of the Gestapo and their dramatic escape from Nazi Germany. Good things always happen in springtime, from author Joanne Fisher on Amazon.com today.
Hello, sweeties. I'm Crystal Moore. I play the Doctor in fan series Doctor Who Velocity. You're listening to The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS radio show.
We all have one shot at life. Rambling Across America by Tommy Ray is an adventure about chasing dreams. In brilliant prose, follow Tommy Ray through personal experience, inspirational quotes, and photos from his Confessions of a Dreamer tour. Woke one night from a dream, Tommy resigned his safe, secure position and took a leap of faith. Now, he invites you to follow his journey. Rambling Across America by Tommy Ray. Get it on Amazon.com, because today is going to be ridiculously amazing.
And folks, we're back. Thank you for staying with us here at the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS radio show. My name's Christian Basel, your host. We have cosplayer Jessica Womack, actress Stacey Corbett, and author Kevin J. Kessler. And Kevin, I'm going to let you go next because you had a little bit of a challenge for me as far as what you felt about Capaldi and his signature line as far as saying, I'm the Doctor. But go ahead, Kevin. Go ahead and then tell us what you think about the episode.
I agree with you that Capaldi's biggest moment, the first big moment, really came from the I'm the Doctor, the man that stops the monsters. I'm with you on that. But I loved in his first episode when he pulls that mask off, hello, hello, rubbish robots from the dawn of time. And he does that whole speech.
Yeah.
And Capaldi had that moment where you didn't know if he threw the clockwork villain off of the TARDIS or not, or off of the flesh balloon or not. And that was a really intriguing moment for me where it it made me very interested in this Doctor. This is a different kind of Doctor. It's just a Doctor that kills. So for me, that was a big moment for me with Capaldi. So, I mean, I enjoyed his first episode. There are always some stumbles with the first Doctor, with the first time you see a new Doctor. And I think that a lot of people see it in terms of I know for me, Matt Smith's first episode, I sat there with my arms crossed glaring at him the whole time. I'm like, who the hell do you think you are? Who are you and why are you wearing my friend's clothes? But he got me at the end when he walked through all of the other 10 Doctors' faces and you had that moment where I'm the Doctor basically run. And I remember I texted my friend, I'm like, did he just call them back to yell at them? Because he did. He calls the aliens back to yell. But this episode, I felt like we were not really just grading Jodie Whittaker as the new Doctor. I felt like we were grading Chris Chibnall as the new showrunner, because even during the Russell T era, there was always some Moffatiness going on in your Doctor Who. So this is really the first time we've ever experienced the show since its revival in 2005 without the hand of Stephen Moffat somewhere in this. And you saw a lot of differences. There was no theme song. There was no the I am the Doctor moment. I agree with you. Fell a little bit short to me. Mm-hmm. I actually thought Tim Shaw as a villain. I didn't think it was a great first outing for Chibnall as far as that went. However, where I felt, and the plot of the episode and the villain were a little meh. The Doctor stole the show. She was wonderful. She was just this ball of manic energy. I loved every second that she was on the screen. To the point where, and I knew that that was going to be great, because the one thing that Jodie Whittaker's been saying in interviews is, oh, well, this is the first time I get to really be me. Like, I get to be a lot more like what I'm like in real life. Because if you watch Broadchurch, she had to like cry the whole time, pretty much. And in this, you just got to see this wonderful being of light that was so fun and so funny and so innocent at times and so capable. The only real disappointment that I had throughout the episode was that they built up to the I am the Doctor moment, with her not being able to remember that she's the Doctor for a while.
Yeah.
And I felt like when we finally got it, we got her saying, I'm the Doctor, and it was like, and I was like, okay, great, now drive it home. And she didn't get that Matt Smith, come on then.
Right.
Like, we didn't get that moment, and that I was a little disappointed with. And also at the end of the episode, usually the end of the new Doctor's first episode, it's full of wonder and hope and just next stop everywhere. Like, we're in the TARDIS, the new companion's there, the Doctor throws the switch, we hear the noise, and we're off to the races for a new season. This ended on a cliffhanger, which I thought was pretty gutsy of Chibnall to kind of break the mold a little bit.
I think in this particular episode, and I know what you're saying, and I know, to me, it actually worked with her, because I think this was a kind of different approach, and believe it or not, this is kind of weird for me saying this, but I think it harkens back a little bit to the Sixth Doctor. He was completely no nonsense, where the bad guy would go like, oh, I'll just blow her up, and you just go ahead, I'll blow up the world. I'll take the planet with me. I mean, what are you going to do? I'm the Doctor. I'm playing this game, and I've got the best hand. And I
agree with that. But the Sixth Doctor, though, is not the one you ever want to compare anyone to.
But that was the because everybody else was kind of like, I'm the Doctor, and they would walk into the room. The Sixth Doctor would be like, I don't care. Are you really do that? Are you really gonna blow up this planet? Are you really doing that? And it kind of harkens a little to the Fourth Doctor. But to me, that worked for her in that regards, because she is a different type of Doctor. She is, in that aspect, her no nonsense. That's what I saw. I'm like, I don't have time to play games with you. This is the way I do things. I'm on the run. I don't have time to find my TARDIS and build a screwdriver. I'm going to get a screwdriver. I'm going to build it my damn self. So that's how I see Jodie's.
I agree, and I love the sequence where she built the sonic screwdriver. I also feel like with this Doctor, she's very compassionate, and I really appreciate it. She's compassionate in a way that Capaldi never was. Like, you remember the Into the Dalek episode where the antibodies kill that guy? Capaldi's just like, oh, you're going to die. Oh, well. Goodbye. Whereas David Tennant would just go, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And Matt Smith would have some long-winded explanation as to why he's actually saved the day. But this Doctor feels like it was just like, no, I'm the Doctor. I agree with you. I'm the Doctor. I'm going to get to this because people's lives are at stake, and that's the most important thing here. And that's what really bled through in her performance for me.
And that's where I take Moffat to task on how he handled Capaldi, because it almost looked like he was meaner than he should have been. And
he was. Moffat described Capaldi as an old beast snarling at you.
Right, but I mean, it was to the point where I kind of felt that character was really pushing the line to where this is not really Doctor. The Doctor does have compassion for... I mean, the best one was Thin Ice, where I challenged it, where the kid fell into the ice and he ended up saving the Sonic. And I would think the Doctor would have at least tried to grab the cuff or his arm, but he grabbed the Sonic. And I'm like, is that how you do things now? Is this my Doctor? Is this direction? But in any case, Stacey, I feel this episode could have been better. Now, I feel that this episode could have been like a middle episode where we're episode 3. It didn't work for me for an introduction, but you liked it. You really did like it. So tell me what you liked about it and why it works for you.
Well, twofold with rating it 1 out of 10. Why I said it's my initial rating is, first off, because there's so many episodes of Doctor Who that I've watched and I've been like, I hate it, it's rubbish, this is terrible, and then watched like another 100 times and been like, I love it. So, and the second part of that, of why it's my initial rating, is I went through and I ranked New Who regenerations from my favorite to my least favorite, and the only reason I only did New Who is because I feel like I have a bit of bias if I would try to rank classic Who, because I already knew the Doctors before I knew their regenerations. Whereas with New Who, you get the regeneration and then you get the Doctor. And I feel like the regeneration episode is its own animal and can only be really compared to other regeneration episodes. Yeah. And it really should be a good encapsulation of the Doctor and who the Doctor is. And that you should be able to show somebody the regeneration episode for that Doctor, and they should understand who that Doctor was throughout their seasons. So that's why it's my initial rating. But I have to, pretty much disagree with Kevin on everything.
Oh, okay, go ahead. Go. No. Let's hear it. I'm gonna sit back and watch the fireworks go off.
Honestly,
go ahead.
I just watched it again right before coming onto this podcast, and I took notes, and I loved everything. From the very first moment, I really liked that she drops through the ceiling and we're already in a Doctor Who episode. I don't feel like I'm going, oh, is this my Doctor? Who is this Doctor? I felt like 12, I love 12 as the Doctor, but his regeneration episode was my least favorite. I spent the whole episode being like, I don't like the tone, I don't know who this is, I don't know who he is as a Doctor. I felt like he wasn't really connecting well with the past. But from the moment she drops through the ceiling, I feel like I could be watching any Doctor Who episode. The Doctor's here. They really didn't make a huge deal of her being a woman, which I really enjoyed. She just happened to be a woman. And the silliness, it was there, but it wasn't too much. She did a little bit of finger up the nose, a little bit of glowing, a little bit of passing out, but it wasn't quite so overwhelming where it's, when will this get done with? And my favorite thing is, like you said, on the scaffolding, when she finally does state that she's the Doctor, I feel like she gives you a very good encapsulation of who she is as a Doctor. She says she's sorting out fair play throughout the universe. And I personally consider myself like a Gryffindor, but I have a lot of Hufflepuff friends, and one of them specifically I thought of like the moment she said this, and I messaged them and I'm like, it's you. So I felt like it was a very... See, I will lower my rating if the season goes on and I find her not to be who she was in this episode. If she isn't constantly making things, because that was another thing I loved about her, is when she was making her sonic screwdriver, I'm like, oh my gosh, it just felt very classic Who to me. I felt throughout the whole entire episode she made a quip at one point to the monster of the episode, and I went, oh, that's just something David Tennant would say. And I think it's great because even though we change as people, there's times that I myself have said things and been like, oh my gosh, that's like something I would have said 10 years ago, and it's just so funny to me. And I feel like it was a very smooth transition. I feel like it fit in well with the rest of the universe. I got feels from the class and Torchwood. I found some references that I felt like really tied those universes in. I loved the companions. I thought they were fantastic. But I think that's all I'm going to say for now. It looks like it's almost time for a commercial.
Wow.
She's awesome.
Stacey,
I will clarify that the arms crossed.
Kevin, let's go ahead. We're going to take a break. Kevin, I want you to bring back your idea, hold that thought. And I had something to say before you come back over here. But folks, stay tuned. We're coming right back, and we got more on The Woman Who Fell to Earth.
Famous Faces and Funnies in Melbourne, Florida is leading the way in pop culture fun. From comic books and graphic novels to Funko Pops and collector's items, Famous Faces and Funnies has it all. Rick Shea and the professional team at Famous Faces and Funnies are friendly and knowledgeable. Whether you're looking for toys, props, collector treasures, or a new comic book, Famous Faces and Funnies is your one-stop shop. To find Famous Faces and Funnies on Facebook and Twitter, just type at FFF Comics.
Hi, I'm Cosplayer Michael with the Hangin With Web Show, and you're listening to Krypton Radio. And remember, cosplay's for everyone.
Channeling the Mothership is an exciting journey into the higher mysteries. Certified psychic medium and clairvoyant Jerry McDaniel's readings, writings, and messages have been received by thousands of people in more than 45 countries. These messages have been obtained by channeling his higher self. How does he do it? Is it a blessing or a curse? And what lay beyond the reach of your five senses? These mysteries and so much more are examined in this explosive book, Channeling the Mothership. Explore the mysteries of the spiritual and the metaphysical. Channeling the Mothership by author Jerry McDaniel. Available on Amazon.com today.
Hey, Whovians, welcome back to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS radio show as we are continuing our panel with the one who fell to Earth. I've got cosplayer Jessica Womack, actress Stacey Corbett, and author Kevin J. Kessler. Kevin, hold that thought. I'm sorry, I'm still holding on you because there are two things I wanted to address with what Stacey said. One is, and this is continuity, so Kevin, back me up on this. I don't understand how Jodie's doctor fell from space on a train, but Tom Baker's doctor fell from a Pharaoh tower, hit the bottom, and had to regenerate. So I kind of like, okay, maybe she's in mid-regeneration, so that's, I guess that's how they got away with it. Or maybe there's another regeneration, how many the doctor has nowadays. The second thing that I wanted to make sure about the whole series and the way that Chibnall was going, I kind of felt like he kind of went out of it. And here's what I wanted to make sure for myself. If you're bringing in and telling me that it's time for a woman to become the doctor, I'm kind of not with you on that. And if that's the reason why you hold Jodie, you auditioned Jodie and brought her in, then I'm kind of backing a little bit out of that. And I feel a little bit weird by it. But if you are telling me you brought in Jodie because she's an excellent actress, because she was on Broadchurch, she was on that movie that drove me nuts, The Attack of the Block. And I actually said to a friend of mine, I said, you know what, if they ever go female, Jodie, this girl could do it. And I did not even realize that I was talking about Jodie Whittaker at the time. So I was foreshadowing something that I did not even expect. And I mentioned this in another podcast. If that's the case, then I support what's going on here. And that whole speech of we're going to honor what we had before, where she's on the scaffold, you can always still be the same thing that you are, but still change. In the same way that Matt's doctor at the very end said, you know what, you're different people who you are in different stages of your life, but it is good to remember all of them. If that's consistency of the series, then I'm bored. Then I'm with it, and we'll keep going. Kevin, go ahead. Go for it, sir. Sorry.
Sorry, I fell off on a second. Actually, to touch on what you said, the way she fell and, didn't immediately regenerate, my take on that was the doctor can do some pretty funky things within the first day of their regeneration cycle. So
I know.
Regrow a hand.
Regrow a hand, yeah.
Exactly. Regrow a hand, things like that. So that was, honestly, I had the same thought you had, like, oh, this killed the ultimate Dr. Tom Baker. How did it not kill a brand new doctor?
It threw me off.
But I honestly chalk it up to it being so early in the regeneration cycle. The comment I made about sitting there and glaring at the screen, that wasn't Jodie Whittaker. That was my first Matt Smith episode because I love David Tennant so much. I loved Jodie Whittaker. If it came off that I didn't enjoy her in my review, then I apologize because I absolutely adored her from the start. My point, I guess, that I didn't articulate very well, I didn't have that new doctor angst with her. I loved her from the second got up and said her first word.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right.
I kind of thought there was more to that, but I'm sorry. There, Jessica, your take on it after everything that we've said over here. What do you think on Stacey's take as far as Jodie?
I agree with that entirely. I agree with the fact that as soon as she dropped down, it was, we were watching The Doctor, and I just loved that they were just like, oh, why are you calling me Miss? Oh, okay, cool, that's new. And I just absolutely adored that because that was my biggest worry, is for them to kind of make the female thing being like a gimmick. And I was like, as soon as they do that, and that's why I always said, I always trust Jodie, but it was the writing I was worried about. Right. And
we weren't looking for etheric beam locators. That was a good thing.
So it was great, and one of my favorite things, because I am such a sucker for body language, was the way she walks. If you watch her, she does not saunter or anything, she has a very boxy walk, which is very much prominent in general men's walk. And it's little things like that that win you over subconsciously. I'm conscious of it because I have done character work and stuff like that. But it's beautiful if you watch just her mannerisms and the way that she moves. I think that is one of the key ingredients in winning us over without even winning us, consciously winning us over. And I just absolutely loved that. And I was even watching some of the trailers and like the way she walks. I was like, this is brilliant. She's done so much character work and it's great. But I also loved seeing little tidbits of all the other doctors in her. Like, I loved the spoon, and that was a call towards Capaldi. And then there was definitely some like David moments in there with her being completely unconscious on the couch. And I just really loved the way that they kind of brought it together and really made it feel like home. Because if you know Whovians, like, Doctor Who's home to us. Like, it's something familiar that we can always go to, and this is something completely different. We have a new showrunner, new writers, new doctor, new companions. Everything's new, and they still were able to make it feel like Doctor Who. And I just love that about it.
Cool beans. Now I'm going to change directions a little bit because I do want to bring the companions in. And this is my generalization about the companions. It was the Fifth Doctor's companions that actually worked. We didn't have to lock up any of the characters in a jail cell or put them in the back of the TARDIS. They all seem to be working together. They all seem to have the same stake together. And I don't know why. I'm a little bit miffed that my friends were sending hashtags writing Fall from Grace. And it took me a few minutes to figure out what the hell they were talking about. And I said, you guys are really mean. I'm really mean. Desperately mean, you people. No. But I'm going to throw this out there. Everybody, if you want to take a pick, do you have a favorite companion? How did the companions work with Jodie?
I would love to say something about it.
Go for it.
I was really excited when Brian, they talked about him having dyspraxia. I have a friend with dyspraxia, and so that was another thing that I loved seeing is we talk a lot about the inclusivity of having a female doctor, but I've met so many people in the Doctor Who community who I feel like it's one of the most accepting communities of people being different and not viewing those differences as weaknesses. And like even one of my friends, they messaged me this story about this little girl who had dyspraxia, and then after seeing Doctor Who this weekend, she went out on her bike and tried to learn how to ride her bike again.
Oh my God, are you serious? Oh my.
Yeah. So I just find it like is really amazing. It makes me a little bit emotional because I love when I see things like that, and I think it's very important for so many people.
I think one of the... No, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kevin.
I agree with that. The thing I was afraid of, actually, as I was watching, is I guess because I'm so used to Moffat and how he does. Like I was really afraid that the Doctor was going to do something to like cure him, and then all of a sudden he was going to be all like coordinated. And I'm really glad they didn't do that, and that they're going to show his we're going to get to deal with that throughout his journey, and it'll continue to be inclusive like that. I was a huge fan of that inclusion.
There was here's the thing, and this is why I kind of respected that, because I love that there was not only a challenge with one of the companions in a physical way, but I'm going to harken back to the last Capaldi season, and I was kind of upset that one of the companions, and I don't know the proper term, so I do apologize, I thought she was going to become a future companion. It was the episode, she was a smaller person. And Capaldi and her were working so well together to try to stop. I guess there was an explosion going on. Please help me out here. I'm trying to remember.
Do you know if it was season 8 or season 9 or season 10?
It's the last season with Capaldi. They were fighting. They were fighting those pyramid monsters, and my brain was just not. But do you remember the scientist that he was working with?
Yes.
Yeah. What if you had a companion who had a handicap, and we don't improve the handicap? He doesn't fix it. It is part of what was going on. I would have loved if she got into the TARDIS, because they had worked out so well together. They were, I mean, it was almost like Nardole and the 12th Doctor working together. They had worked so well together that it would have been interesting to have a companion, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way, but a handicap that they don't overcome. And a friend of mine who's actually an actor, Kurt Yeager from Son of Anarchy, which I got a chance to meet him and interview him. He says, what if there was an episode where the companion had a handicap and had to deal with it, and not only that, but physically went through it, and did, and every episode was with a handicap. If they were blind, they did not, they didn't get their sight back. And I thought that would have been a great, interesting take to have a companion like that. And now that they brought Ryan in, who has that handicap, and kind of explored it and made it part of the story, I think that was a wonderful thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, geez. So, what am I missing? Jessica, did you talk favorite companion yet? Or how do you feel about companions with Jodie?
Not yet.
Okay, go for it. Sorry.
Honestly, I absolutely adored the companions because I didn't like them. And here's why. So I think we had spoke a little bit last week saying, we weren't a big fan of Clara, and I think I realized why. She came in almost in no need of improvements. And all three of the companions that we have remaining are the ones that you can easily see the way that the Doctor can change their lives for the better. And I'm so excited to see that. Because, you do have, Jazz, who's insecure and trying to do more with her life, and she's getting shut down at work. You've got Graham, who's very timid and doesn't want to take chances, and then you've also got Ryan, who, as we've said, he's got this thing that he has himself mentally blocked of, I can't do things because of this disability. And Grace was the only one who was kind of like, oh, this is great. And so it was very poetic in that, I kind of knew from the beginning she was going to leave us by the end of the episode. But I'm really excited to see where each of them grow because there is so much potential growth. So I didn't hate them at all, but they all are ready to be fixed, and I love it.
Gotcha. Well, in that case, anybody have any last-minute thoughts or anything about this episode and any predictions of the next episode?
Well, I mean, I didn't talk.
Go ahead, Kevin. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go for it.
I thought they were great. My favorite kind of companion to the Doctor is one that there's none of that romantic tension, because I don't believe that the Doctor is that kind of character that needs to have that kind of romantic tension all of, like Tennant and Donna were my favorite because they were just friends. They were best buddies. And Bill and the Doctor, there was more of a mentee-mentor role, but there was none of that sexual tension, and I enjoyed that as well. So that's why I really, really loved this kind of setting with these three companions. And having three companions, awesome. And having one of them be older, I'm very excited to see where it goes.
Gotcha. I'll start with you, Kevin. What is your predictions for the upcoming episodes? And I'm just going to say this. I'm taking a little myth that our upcoming, the coming up episodes were a series of celebrities. And so I really wanted a teaser to the next episode, but here are all these celebrities, and I felt like they were coming out and parading, oh, by the way, we're going to have Alan Cummings, and we're going to have this guy, and we're going to have her, and we're going to have him, and I'm just like, okay. I was hoping the stories would generate not necessarily, oh, this is what we got for Doctor Who. But Kevin, what are your predictions, and how do you feel about the upcoming episodes?
We're running out of time, so I'll be real quick.
Sure.
I'm actually wondering if we're actually going to find the TARDIS this season, if it's going to be a whole season arc of them looking for it. Maybe they're stranded in the middle of space. Maybe it's a big road trip season where they're trying to find the TARDIS and get home. That would be really interesting. It wouldn't involve time travel, which would be a little disappointing, but it would be an interesting way to go about the season.
Stacey, 10 seconds. What do you think about the upcoming episodes?
I'm sure they'll be great. I don't think I can say anything else that will only take 10 seconds.
Got it. Jessica, just in 10 seconds.
I want the TARDIS.
Yes, exactly.
I want the TARDIS.
Everybody, thank you for coming in and listening to us. Cosplayer Jessica Womack, you can check out her stuff on Instagram at Swansong Cosplay. What's that? Swan Song. Song Swan? Sorry, Song Swan. Cosplay on Instagram. Stacey Corbett, you can check out her on her talent and everything on Instagram as well at Stacey Corbett, one word with a hashtag. And Kevin, where can people find you?
Facebook.com/Kevin J. Kessler author, or on Instagram at White Dragon PN.
Alrighty. Well, thank you, folks, for joining us. Thank you, panelists, for coming on in here. Stay tuned for the next. We will be reviewing the next episode coming up here. Thank you again for folks, because we cannot do the show without you. Please subscribe, stay long, and always stay with us to become part of the legend.